Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. As you can see, last week on the last video you guys saw, we're finishing up the foot box bars here that tie in the mid plate area on Cletus's car. We got those wrapped up. We did the exact same tubes on the other side. Danny got those wrapped up the end of last week. Today he's working on mounting the rack. We'll show you guys that. Taylor's finishing up the receiver lips that you saw in the last video, and he's finishing up the carbon in the center of the car. So he's gonna finish up that today. And then we're going to do the crankcase ventilation tubes and fittings that go into the framer. We'll show you that, show you kind of why we do that and how we do it. So Taylor will be finishing up that. Danny's wrapping up the rack. Thanks for everyone that's been supporting the channel by buying merch. It's also helping Cletus. If you didn't hear last time, all the merch we sell from now until the end of June, 5% of the entire order goes to paying Cletus's invoice. So that's a pretty cool deal we're trying to do with him. We appreciate it. And make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And we're going to try to keep bringing as much content as possible.
What if you use a piece of angle?
Oh, this looks, I think, a little bit better. You just put a tack on that. It's not going to line up exactly on the mark, but I don't care about that really.
So basically those are the bars for, or the supporting bars for the steering rack?
Yeah, that and a fuel cell tray that it sits in.
Taylor, looks like you made quite a bit of progress on the carbon plating in the rear.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm gonna throw in the top section on the front side of the tail portion of the car, and then we'll call that complete. I think the next thing I'm doing is putting some Wiggins fittings in the upper frame rail so we can go ahead and try to make some tubes to run from those through the carbon to the puke tank in the back.
That looks good though. The angle looks good.
Could take a little bit more.
Take it out.
We'll put just a hair more in it.
If anything, if you leave it out of it, then you got a little roll too. That way you're not trying to make it so sharp to the top.
Okay, so it's not so sharp at the top?
Okay. Well, we'll get it out of the seat area a little bit too. And then we'll just get them together and tie them and then just go through. But he's got the fittings on the tank pretty close.
Okay.
Nothing, he's doing it. He's got the notch right. I just want to aim them together because if as wide as they are there, if you went straight back, kind of get in your seat shoulder area, and also on the tank with all the X's and stuff in that back area, we kind of need to get them close together before we go to the carbon. So he just got to lay them in a little bit and run them that way.
So at what point do you know if it's enough as far as the angle goes?
As far as like front to back?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get this fitting to match the 1.5-inch tube going up the tail section as close as possible.
What are you thinking?
Trying to decide how far forward to rear I really want these to be. Thinking probably a little further out. That way I can clear the shoulder bar and the funny car cage. And then as they come up to go through, they'll come in together and go through one hole in this piece of carbon. You might be able to bring it out here and then put them together and go up. But then this tube is going to be tight going into here. Where if you just went up and hugged that tube.
Maybe get a tube. Like get a tube and just see what it looks like if we could.
All right, I'll take that out.
Yeah, take that out. Get
try
a
to
tube.
come
Yeah,
through.
we'll just see, kind of replicate it, see which one's gonna look better. I'd rather not on that side.
Right,
if we have to,
because of his elbow and everything.
Yeah, I mean it should still be plenty of room. But
Okay.
yeah, let's try that.
So I'm seeing Dan make a lot of measurements here in this area, and I think it's because he's doing the main bracketry for the steering rack. I think it's just one plate, but is there going to be more plates than that?
There's 2 plates, so the rack gets 2 mounts. So he's making those now, making the mounts for the rack now. You're gonna be able to do it just flush instead of.
Yeah, that's the whole plan.
And like we did before, you could always make space for like
I
you
know.
know, upstairs.
Yeah, I just wish this was a little bit, it's not dead center this. It's gonna be about like that.
Yeah, it's good.
And all I gotta do is I pop a couple holes in that piece and I'll have that one made. This one here is going to be longer.
Yeah.
And that's the piece we'll probably laser out
Okay.
because big sheet, I guess. Kind of hard to deal with that.
Yeah,
But
that's
it's going to be just something pretty simple.
Yep. We'll put an extra
It'll
hole
be-
in there or something.
There'll be 2 holes. You can put a little oval hole in it right here.
Yep.
And then on the other end, I'll have a little piece that breaks down like this.
Yeah. Put it up.
I'll just bend it down, cut me a notch. All you gotta do is basically laser this outside sort of shape.
You don't need an 1/8" notcher for that, do you, David? 'Cause we don't have one.
No,
Okay.
I make do just fine.
All right. Good.
You can put an Allen bolt, and it's small,
Yeah.
but if you had to scrounge up one at the racetrack,
Right.
a lot easier to find a regular old 5/8 bolt than it is a 5/8 Allen bolt.
Yeah. Yeah. Make it where it'll fit a hex, and we'll put an Allen in it that way.
Exactly. That way, in case you're thrashing around the racetrack
Yeah.
and you're in a hurry, and you go to put a socket on there and it won't go on, it goes on an angle because it hits the tube. People aren't happy on that.
No. That wouldn't be good.
I wouldn't like it either. Anyway, we're good. Now I gotta get my whip, see where that's going. About 1/8 of an inch.
While Dan's doing the measurements, you can make the steering rack bracket
A little more steep
Yeah.
and have it come up more here. That way it's further back away from his elbow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, his elbow should. The seat's gonna stop here, so he wouldn't be able to get his elbow back there no matter what. You know what I mean? The seat
Yeah.
got that. That's behind us. That's fine. Let's do both sides like that.
Like this?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
And I'll set this one first
And then match it.
and match the other side because this is where our
Yeah.
tolerance this way needs to go.
Yep.
Is it a big deal? You want me to keep it off this bar? Off this shoulder bar?
I mean, just a little bit, but it'll be alright if it breaks on us back that level. That'll work. Yeah, that, like I said, the seat's gonna cover. You know what I mean? You're not gonna have.
Should be out of the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right.
Does it fit there? Or you got to notch it more?
No, it's the same notch.
Oh, the same angle?
Yeah. I just need to mark this the best I
You want me to
can.
hold that while you mark it, or you got it?
I got it. It'll be close enough. Alright. Yeah, here we go.
So he's marking that there because he's got to put a hole. The crankcase ventilation goes into the chassis up front, into the top dual frame rail, with a similar fitting out of the valve cover into the chassis, and then out of the chassis back here and into a Puke tank back here. So that's why it's got to have a hole there. And like I said, it'll be similar up front. Instead of running this hose through the entire cockpit area, it's a lot cleaner to run it through the dual frame rail. So we don't put any vent holes in the top dual frame rail. It's sealed completely, capped at the end, and then it all just goes through there.
There's room in here, man. For me to get in and out. Climbing over bars.
At least your door bars are on there.
Yeah, door bars make things 10 times worse.
Yeah.
$25 is essentially one inch, right?
25, 24.
Yeah, close enough. So the fumes from the oil or the vapor from the oil is going to come through this top frame rail and then come through the fitting, through the tube, and into the Puke tank that we'll have in the back of the car. But I went ahead and put the hole in it just because once I put the fitting in, getting in through the other side to try to drill it with a hole saw or even with a Dremel or something, it's that much more difficult. So we just go ahead and do it now. Line it up, tack it in, weld it out, and then if I have to go in for any kind of fine tuning from the weld blow through or something, then I can do that. Same on the other side.
Same on the other side, and we'll tack this plate in.
Okay.
Then I'll worry about making the other side. I'm gonna have Cameron probably laser it. So I'm just gonna get some dimensions on it and have to laser it.
Once I get in, Danny?
You're gonna want to do that. Yeah.
I gotta figure out which side's gonna be easiest.
You just gotta get one in the corner.
And then you get set. Just grab that wire, please. Now you get set.
Yeah, corner's good. That's good. Now I can make the other side. Thank you.
So Dan, what are these measurements for?
Width, length. Then I got to add to it for a piece on an angle back to nothing that gets broke down about a 45-degree angle. And then I'll knock the back side of it to fit this tube. That stiffens that so it can't move. You just put a flat plate up there, even though it's bolted down here, there could still be some kind of a little flex going on. But if I make a piece break down and weld up the side of this, that stops all the flex. Plus there'll be a slotted hole out here lasered into it just for taking away a little bit of weight. Doesn't need to be solid. Just a rather crude little drawing. But I know what it means.
So, fuel cell looks pretty good. What's the next piece you're working on now?
I'm doing this puke tank. About to finish this last weld. Got a couple other bungs I got to put on, and this thing will be finished up. So we'll get to it. We're gonna have a 2-inch stack here. This is to let the air out. So the air will come in here, go through the baffling, then come out the top here. And then on the back we'll have a drain. That's basically it. Super simple stuff.
Usually that hand that it sits on that too.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying it's a little bit higher than what it is because you add the thickness of the pan. Mm-hmm. So it's a hair higher.
That's 60 thousandths higher.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get an idea back there how far it goes back to see where the tabs are going to go.
I don't know if we have a strap or
You're
not.
not going to be able to put a straight maintenance fitting on the back of that fuel cell.
No, it'll depend on.
The fuel line is going to have to depend on what the fuel. If it's one of those stainless ones we weld up, it'll be like a 90 or a 45 where it goes onto that fitting because the rack's 5 inches back. Yeah, I gotta find out what's going on here because these things that come over, the straps that come over, they usually go down and that tab can roll down.
Yeah, you can roll the tab and then a clevis like we do.
Yeah, you can get it in there. If he's got those straps that have like a flat piece of metal with like a little spring-loaded thing on it, it'll have to be. You ain't gonna get the other kind in there.
Really nice strap. The really nice flat.
No, the ones I'm talking about are the ones that look like two round pieces of metal right next to each other. That'll go in, but the flat ones, no.
So what are you thinking, Dan?
We're just trying to figure out where the fuel cell is going to go front to back. A lot of things play into that. Oh, you're going to go up with it?
Probably. Go higher.
That means I got to bend a little bar up and over and down then.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's all I want to know. I was just trying to get an idea of what's going to happen there.
Yeah.
Oh, problem solved.
Yeah, I think we'll just go up, do your tray.
You want to go high enough to make the fuel line come straight off the fuel cell and go above the rack?
Yeah. Might not be a bad idea. How high do we have to go to do that?
About like that.
Find out.
About like that?
Let me get a piece of tube. Yeah, but it's going to be bigger on the outside.
I know, but it's got to be.
It's got to go higher than that. It's got to go up about like that.
It's fine.
That's good?
Yeah.
Well, that just got easy.
I'd rather do that than, yeah,
Yeah, that just got, everything got easier.
that'll look good.
Amazing.
Perfect.
Love it.
Like it.
You want that for something?
Yeah, I'm using it.
Oh, you're using it. Oh, well, I was worried about a couple of things. Now I'm no longer worried about it. I'm worried about,
Yeah, no, I can't go all the way down.
that's all I need. Now it's going to go forward how far?
All the way up against the tube.
So it'll be up like this.
Yep.
Okay. Just getting an idea where the Zeus fasteners are going to be at back here. So I'll just make me a little line on here just so I see it. I'm just pre-planning things out while you're doing the tab.
I like it.
So I mean, it sounds like we have a better game plan for the fuel cell.
Yeah, yeah. So the fuel cell gets a tray on the bottom that fits pretty snug to it. That'll locate it, and then it gets a titanium tubular strap basically made for the top that holds it in place also. So it's just got to be raised up some there and be good to go.
You gotta go with that. Minimum. Can't be any farther down than that. That was it. Huh?
That'll work good because this bend here, so when we do our tab and our clevis, we should kind of skip this bend. This radius is our,
Oh, you're boom, right straight into it.
yeah, because this bend, we radius the same as our radius of our tubing bender. That way that's, you know how we do that?
Oh, you radius it the same as the bender.
Yeah, so that should fit perfect. And this bend we shouldn't have to do. It should just go down to a
Good.
tab.
Now that right there, the outside diameter right now of the Wiggins fitting is about that much clearance, maybe between the rack. So if we raise it up just a tad more, like a little bit more, it wouldn't hurt nothing.
What size tube is that you got that you were testing it with?
1 5/8 inches, and it was, I was just holding it up there to it.
Okay.
So it's probably 1 3/4 OD tube.
Okay.
Yeah, what I'm getting ready to do, I was going to just, while you're doing that, I was going to bend up this bar here.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to get my height.
Yeah, that's fine.
So what I'll just do is just
You could almost go, I wonder if instead if you went from here, that way you can get your Zeus's on the backside instead of hanging them out in front. If you go from here, to, like your tray, for your tray to mount on, if you go from here, you'll be kind of far back already. If you came off of here, maybe you could maybe just, and then put your Zeus's on the back side of that tube for the tray instead of.
Oh, don't come off of this bar, come off of these two
You
mounting
could,
points.
but I think if you came off of this bar, you could bend it forward and get your Zeus tabs on the backside for the tray. That makes sense? Because if you come off of here straight up, you're going to have a lot hanging off the front.
Yeah, okay.
So maybe just make something that looks clean from like here and come out almost to the front.
I can do that.
I think that'll look good.
All right, that'll work. I'm just trying to get my centers on where to make that bend.
I almost got that tab drawn up there. I'll have you double check.
All right, I'll be up there in a second.
Just stick it in straight. Maybe just put it in the car and make sure that straight is okay.
Okay.
So that we can get through that, the lower one underneath that, the two diagonals like that.
Okay.
So, yeah, should we go? Came out good, huh?
Yeah.
Not bad for your first weld.
Yeah.
That's good. That's what you get when you use these.
First time.
When you use these Everlast welders. They
Oh,
just,
yeah.
They do the job for you.
100%.
That's good. I like it.
Good thing you didn't have to show me this time.
Yeah.
I just need to know if I need to tilt these any direction or can they just be straight. I'm thinking straight would be fine, but I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, in towards each other just a hair maybe. But I don't know if you'd be better off 90 off of this face, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Where's he at? Is he still over here? Or he walked away?
Walked away.
He walked away.
He walked away. Hey, will you tell Cameron to come back here when you get up there? Please? Got you, didn't I?
Do you have that? Hey, do you have that stack? Do you have the stack?
No. He just now brought it. They told me not to use that one. He's going to go get some actual 2-inch.
Oh, well, what is that?
7/8.
Oh.
Thick boy. It's a thick boy. How are we going to mount the two? I need to know that.
Mount what?
That.
Oh.
We're going to put tabs and whatnot.
So the hoses coming through here, the carbon panel that goes here will have a hole with a trim ring on it where the two tubes go through. There will be a second piece of carbon here on the back side, also with a hole and a trim ring. The tubes come through, and then there's Wiggins fittings on each side to connect to the Puke tank that Andrew has made. I mean, that would be in the deck lid.
That'd be good there. Yeah, I mean, you're in the deck lid at least some, because then the wing is going to be up on the deck lid, so we don't want to get too carried away.
That was good.
Yeah. Yep. Perfect. We're just trying to figure out on the fittings in the front to make sure the hoses line up good and they don't bind up. Also, where the vent is going to be ends up in a deck lid. So we know that the trunk filler piece goes here, stops here. So from here back is all deck lid. We don't want to get too far back because that way we can add some weight back here still. And the wing will come up on a deck lid some. So I think this is pretty close where we're going to be. We can move this around a little bit once we get the fittings on the front and make sure the hoses are happy where they're at. So, but right now it's pretty close. Looks good.
Go for it.
Nail it.
Nailing it.
Nail it.
Gracias, amigo. For our Spanish viewers. A lot easier to put one tack on there, that way I can move them where I want them to be. I think that was pretty good. And my boys are here. Gotta tell them what to do. Alright. These get longer.
Yeah, that'll probably be alright.
Alright. Hey, you know what? Why don't we take this off and we can put it on that and see.
That's fine. Pull that out. Just push it back through the other way.
You talking about?
Turn around.
And then we put it on there and make sure. This side you know is going to be the same, so. Oh yeah. Get the same with this one. Cute.
Yeah. It's just going to be really tight right here.
Yeah.
But there's no way around it. It's going to have to be. That'll be okay.
Okay.
I think. Yeah, I think it'll be fine.
Fantastic.
So Dan, is that the same plate you were taking measurements for?
That's it. It would have taken me probably at least an hour to draw it all out on metal, put it in the end mill, drill the holes on centers, hole saw this, saw it, sand it, and do all that, at least an hour. I drew it up in about 5 minutes, gave it to Cameron. Cameron cut it out in about 30 seconds. Lasers are nice.
And I also noticed that this plate is different from the other plate that the steering rack is mounted to. Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, let me draw this line and then I will go tell you all about that. This is fixed. It doesn't go anywhere because it has pins in there that indexes it in certain areas, so it can't slide anywhere you want to put it. This one, these collars are added on here because it was an old rack that somebody had that used the collars as a backup. This you can loosen and slide it anywhere you want to on here. Cameron likes to have these the same. Since this one is fixed, this tube has to be where it is to have enough room for the bolts to get in the bottom with a socket on it easily and not a bunch of excess material hanging out. Doesn't need to be there. Okay, so he wants this tube to be in the same off center as this one is. So when you do that, it's a long way away from this. Yes, you can slide that over and you can make a small tab just like that right there. But some people seem to think, and I don't disagree, that the farther you put these apart, the more stable the rack would be. If it was under a load, it might want to move or do something. So we just run this all the way out as far as it will go, and then we have to make the bracket farther out. It's one of Cameron's way of doing things. Is it right? Is the other wrong? It all works, just depends on what you want. And I'll go back over there and just sand out a spot where it fits around that 1-inch tube. And when it's welded along here, that right there will keep this from wanting to do any kind of flexing like this. If it was just flat, you could grab a hold of this with put a crescent wrench on it, and you can wiggle this up and down.
Now, are those more tack welds?
No, he's finishing welding a lot of the tubes in the back. The reason for that is the receivers, how he did them on the front, sheet metal. He's gonna have to do those in the back on this section here. And if he were to put those in before he finished welding those tubes, you wouldn't be able to get to the front side tube. So he's welding up wherever he has to get to before he puts those in, so he doesn't put himself in a bad spot when that goes. Or you could, I wonder if you do it like you did up on the top, where you take a bunch of meat out of the middle of it. You know what I'm saying? How you did that?
Yeah. My step
real thin toward the middle.
My step might have to be right after the brake.
Yeah, all right.
You know how, because you brake to set on this tube,
Yeah.
and then put my step in it and drop down, make it real thin on the bottom.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. It's just something I noticed when we were trying to,
Yeah, to fit the hoses there.
when we were just putting it in just to look at it.
So what we're talking about is on the receivers like we did on the front, on the back side, the hoses are going to be low. They got to go through this opening here. And we don't want the receiver to be too tall and get in the way of the hoses. So he's going to either have to notch out that receiver a lot, or we may have to do 2 separate receivers or 2 tabs instead of a receiver going all the way across. So we'll just have to put some hoses in there and see how much room we actually got.
It'll be all right. Figure it out.
And there is our rack mount. Not welded out, but fabbed up. Trying to make an exact bend as the other side. This doesn't hurt a thing. Always overdo it. You can take a little out of it. More accurate than putting it into it.
The bolt bends won't weaken the metal at all?
I'm barely moving it. Not enough to matter. Chromoly's springy. Titanium's worse. Titanium, you can make a bend like we make drive shaft loops. We'll bend in 180. It'll be like 6 3/8 at the tight point. It'll be 6 3/8 on the inside, this far away. Let it sit in the parts room for a couple weeks or a week or so. That 6 3/8 at the bottom will become 6 1/2. All by itself, it just relaxes. There we go.
Think it'll work good?
Yeah, what do you think?
I like that.
I'll raise,
like the
I'll
tube
raise
being
it
out
up
there.
so you probably have this much clearance on
Perfect.
an 1 5/8 piece of tubing, which is about the same as the outside of the Wiggins fitting.
Right.
We should have enough going over the rack, but you haven't got to really worry about it.
Okay.
If you put a big old rubber hose on there, it probably still clear.
Yeah, which we're not gonna. So it's good.
And so that should go right about like that.
Yeah, it looks good.
And,
I like that better being out here. That way the tray is almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks good.
Sometimes I don't always see that. See, that's
like
brand new.
Yeah, that's wild.
Fine bar.
Huh.
All right, let me drill
About
off.
an inch and eighth, isn't it?
No,
That's good. Awesome.
I don't think I'm ever gonna live that.
I'm just trying to pressure test this.
I know a lot of people probably think that that vent there is going to be that tall. It is not going to be that tall. It's that tall just because we don't know where we're going to cut it off yet, but it'll probably get cut more like here. It's only going to stick up a 1/4 inch past the deck lid or so, maybe 3/8, but we just make it that tall. That way it's definitely tall enough. It's easier to cut it off than it is to add more. So he just got it all welded up now, and we got some stuff here. That way we can check it. Put, I don't know how much you put in there.
Now I heard him say pressure test.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this gets pressure tested as well, the Puke tank?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything I will basically, box wise, I'll clamp everything off and then I will put air to it and put soapy water around all the welds, see if it leaks anywhere. So,
Now, the welds already look fantastic, but this is just an extra precaution that is taken.
yep.
Yeah, just to make sure it's going to hold liquid at some point. It obviously gets drained out regularly, but if it's going to hold liquid, we need to make sure it doesn't leak. The last thing you want is fluid leaking on the racetrack under someone's tires and cause a really bad issue. So want to definitely make sure there's no leaks.
The touching?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Taylor, why do you hold it on there so long?
Post flow, keep the puddle from getting contaminated by oxygen.
The way he uses argon, I think he's got stock in argon place down the road, in the well and supply down the road.
These machines are used louder.
They are. Yeah, no, I believe.
Well, there's that part of it. Now I got to make something off the rack mount bars.
You could almost just go all the way to the frame rails, straight across.
Yeah, if you want to go all the way across, I can do that. And then I can put 4 Zeus tabs on it, tack them on, and then the pan can get made. Drill it, Zeus it. That part's fun.
Like it.
Then comes the fun
Yeah,
deal.
yeah. Yeah, after the pan gets,
That's
so
really not too bad.
yeah, it gets a tray on the bottom, and then, like he's saying, the next thing we'll do will be the cage over the top. That's all titanium, either 1/2 inch or 3/8 tubing. So basically the top of the cell is only held down by 3/8 and 1/2 inch tubing with 4 quick pins, 4 3/16 quick pins. So that's a pretty cool, Danny's really good at doing the little stuff like that.
Are we gonna put a little something on the sides to,
No, there's a tray.
now trust me, that's it.
That way it's not hard to get out.
Yeah, good. There's not much room there anyway, so it'd be
No.
a real little tight thing. But if it was about 1/4 inch, it wouldn't be too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fairly productive day.
Alrighty, well that'll pretty much do it for the day. We had a really good day today. Danny got the rack mount stuff done. The fuel cell's starting to go in. Taylor got some more receiver lips done, some more carbon, and Andrew got the puke tank done. So on the next episode, we'll get the fuel cell mount finished. We'll get the other tubes underneath done, the tray done, and the cage for the top of it done. We'll also be starting on the pedals. So we'll be starting on our adjustable pedal kit. You'll get to see that stuff. And we'll also be mounting the puke tank and running puke tank hoses. Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. The more people that subscribe, the more content we can give you guys. Also, a lot of people had questions about merch, shipping overseas, Australia, Denmark, Canada. We got all that stuff straightened out, got you guys a flat rate price on merch. So make sure you get some merch if you were looking and you thought shipping was too much, and maybe we'll get Cletus's car paid for. Thanks again for watching.